I'd love to hear any advice you have for getting over someone you're in love with who you can't be with because they're with someone else and they don't know how I feel. I'm bad at getting over things like this. So they're in a relationship and they don't even know how you feel. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. And it's one of those situations, because he's in a relationship, I wouldn't say anything, because then that's not good. That's not good. We don't want to be homewreckers. And so it's so hard, our heart breaks. You know what I think you should do is honestly focus on the negatives. Pick out the things you don't like about them and focus on those. I think we tend to sometimes put people on a pedestal, and it's really the people that we don't even know that well. Haven't you guys seen on TikTok, if you're on TikTok, there's always these jokes of like, oh, if you have a crush on a guy, just get to know him and it'll go away. I think crushes are very natural, even when you're in a relationship. I do. I always have said that. Unless it's like the early stages of a relationship where you're just like so infatuated. But like when you settle into relationship, I think like having little crushes here and there is a normal thing. And I think they're fleeting. And then they go away and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? That was so stupid. And don't come for me about that, because it's a really natural thing. And I know for a fact 98% of people have had those little crushes. And if you say that you haven't, it's just because you can't admit it to yourself. So, okay, I can actually admit it. And that doesn't mean you act on it or do anything about it. But so I guess my advice would be, you have to try to like humanize him somehow, right? Like just make him like every other guy, because when someone is unattainable, when we don't know them that well, but there is something about them, we put them on a pedestal. So we got to get him off of the pedestal, first of all. And I think you need to just distract yourself and maybe go on some other dates. Also, I would remove myself from being around this person as much as possible. I think if you work with them, that obviously makes it a lot more challenging. But if he's just like in your social settings and stuff, like I would actually really try to avoid being around this person so that your crush kind of fades, because I really do think it just takes time and removing someone from your life for you then to kind of just move on and get over them. But that sucks. I feel for you in that. Hello, Kristin, blank from Morocco here. Just wanted to ask how to detach from male validation, because I feel like that's something you're great at doing. Stay golden. Stay golden is cute. I like that sign off. Thanks. I like that. Okay, so that's interesting because, for a majority of my life, male validation was the only thing I cared about. So, I would say only in the last, I don't know. I guess, I think when I got married, obviously I kind of stopped caring so much about validation from men. But that can't be, I guess if that's, what you're searching for, right, is validation from the opposite sex, I would challenge you to ask yourself why that is, because it's usually, like in this case, maybe there's issues with a dad. Maybe, something happened with a male in your life. Like I know all of my issues with men were because of my dad. I think it's usually that simple. And I think until you really like work through your issues with whoever it is or whatever sex it is, that will always present itself. And so that's ultimately what it's about. If someone has mommy issues or, like wants a girlfriend to just like take care of them and baby them, like I would say there's mommy issues there. Like it's like pretty simple like that. Sometimes obviously it's a little bit more complex, but my seeking male validation was because of my relationship with my dad and never feeling like I was good enough and like wanting to, make every guy fall in love with me so that I didn't get hurt. And then I always had my walls up, but like I wanted everyone to fall in love with me, every guy. And I ultimately ended up hurting a lot of guys because of that, which was never my intention. And now that I'm older and I reflect back, like I feel bad about a lot of the men that I hurt in my life. Like I really didn't. And it was never an intentional thing. I think that's the most important piece, is like intention really is everything in any situation. But while it wasn't my intention, I hurt a lot of men, and I do feel bad about that. And so I would say yeah, in order to detach from that, you have to figure out where it's coming from, love yourself, because when you when your cup really is full, when you're happy in your own skin, you know, you're doing things in your life that just really fulfill you. You don't need validation from anywhere, whether that's men, women, coworkers, you know, whatever the situation may be. And that is a really great place when you really get to a place of not caring what anybody else thinks, not needing validation from anybody, just like really being happy and content with where you are in your life. I think that's a really beautiful place.